Hey everybody, this is AYG's Alpha Team with another video for the Division. This is going to be our 1.7.1 Striker build, 6-piece classified gear set. It's going to be all 6 pieces of the Striker, and we're going to show you how you can exploit the crap out of it. Without further ado, let's just get right in it. Now I will say this was one of the hardest builds I had to make it super effective. But with the build we got, it is ridiculously effective, so it was definitely worth the time. Like I said, it's going to be 6-piece Striker. We're rolling 3 items for electronics: the gloves, the mask, and the chest. And we're rolling 1 item for firearms, which is the backpack, and then another item for stamina. And we're doing the stamina for 2 reasons: because it helps make the 6-piece classified gear set bonus stronger, and also we could use a little toughness in this build, and we definitely need that. But in short, we're expect a little bit more into electronics. And I know what you're thinking, like Striker, you want to do the damage because that's what gets you the bonuses to the, to getting more damage from the 4-set bonus and the 6-piece bonus. But with the build that we're using our skill power to kind of give us a little more sustainability with our skills. So we'll go over that in a second though, but let's go over the perks first. So you all know the 4-piece. Every consecutive hit deals 1% more damage, stacks up to 100%. Missing a shot drops the bonus by 2%. Bonus is reduced by 1% every second. Bonus can be paused by EMP and is lost when exiting combat. And then also another couple of important things is stability and enemy armor damage that you get with this. So we're going to show you how we exploited that too. Same thing with the 5-piece, extra stability, more enemy armor damage. Now the 6-piece, every hit adds a self-healing bonus of 0.01% of max health per second. This bonus is increased by 0.03% for every 2,000 stamina, stacks up to 100 hits. Missing a shot removes a stack, 1 stack is removed every second. So in order to get this to be effective, because the percentages are super low, we're not talking about 1/10, we're talking about 1/10 of a percent. So, and even with the bonus that we have 2 stacks of stamina, so we would only get 0.07% out of this. So in order for this to be effective, we have to really get close to that 100 hit stack. And that's one reason why we're going with the weapons we're going with, which I'll explain in a second. And the other thing is, because Striker gives you such a stability and enemy armor damage boost, you pretty much you have your choice of any weapon you want to use, because even if you're going to pick something like the Bullfrog, it's going to be incredibly stable just inherently because of the set bonuses. So that's awesome. So you kind of have your choice of weapons, and if you're going with PvE, pick whichever weapon you want because they're all going to be effective. But if you want to do a little bit more in PvE or PvP, then you're going to have to refine your weapons just to kind of take advantage of these set bonuses. So, the other things that you need to know about the gear are we spec for health on kill on the chest and the mask. We spec for health on the chest piece. We also spec it for on the knee pads, but we spec for skill power on the backpack because we will be relying on our skills a little bit. Another thing is our gloves are crit chance, crit damage with some SMG damage, and we'll go over why we chose these in a second, and a little bit more crit chance on our holster. Now all of our mods are going to be firearms health. Because we have so many pieces in electronics, we can use our mods for health and firearms, which is what we needed to get our toughness a little bit higher, and then also get a little firearms a little bit up. And then all of our performance mods are going to be first aid self-heal, because we will be using a first aid heal. Now, the reason why we're going with this particular loadout and why we're going with a little bit of skill power is because we need to exploit the 6-piece Striker gear set. Now the way to do that is we just try to think it through logically. How can you get to the 100 point hit bonus the fastest? Well, the fastest shooting weapons, I would assume, right? So we went through and we tried a bunch, and it turns out the Showstopper has the most hits per second than any other weapon in the game, because you can do so for something like the Bullfrog, you can do 900 rounds. Even with the 900 rounds, you can add, with an extended mag or with a rate of fire increase, you can get plus 40. Like this particular one has plus 49, so 950 rounds per minute. So that's, in a minute we can get to that bonus 9 times over. But since the showstopper shoots a shell, and each shell has, I think it has 9 or 10, I'm not sure, but we're going to round down. So we're going to say each shell has 9 rounds. Each shell has 9 pellets, and each one of those pellets counts as a hit towards the striker bonus. So with each shot we shoot, we go up 9%. So if you do the math, 240 times 9 pellets gives you 2160. So it's essentially 2160 rounds per minute. So that's going to get us the fastest to our 6-piece set bonus for the healing. So we tried a bunch of different weapons. We tried slower firing weapons. We tried the bullfrog. We tried the LVOAC, but none of them got us to that max faster. So if you want to take the most advantage of the striker set piece, I definitely recommend the showstopper. It's the fastest way to get to that set bonus. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, it's ridiculous gun to have for that, or like why not use something like the bullfrog or the LVOAC? Those are effective, but I'm just saying the showstopper is just more effective at getting to that set bonus faster. So that's why we went with it. And also to kind of couple up with the striker 6-piece set bonus, we also added self-preserve on this, which is why we're spec'd so far into crit chance. So self-preserve is critical hits with this weapon heal the user for 3% of damage dealt. So not only are we getting the 6-piece set bonus heal from the striker, but we're also getting the self-preserve from the showstopper. So anytime we use this, we're getting doubled up on our heals. So essentially, if you can land all your hits and the majority of them are crits, you're going to be constantly healing yourself for a significant amount. Now, it's not like the old school Midas where like you just kill somebody and you're automatically full health, but it is effective. It is the most effective I've used so far. So also our showstopper has Fierce, which just gives us a little bit more crit chance, so we can proc that self-preserve a little bit more and also do more damage. And then of course the showstopper itself, your accuracy with this weapon is increased the fewer shells you have left in the magazine. Also, the mods for this are going to be crit chance and crit damage. And the other weapon of choice that we used was the MP7. Now again, like I said, you could use any weapons you want for this build if you're speccing for PvE. Do whatever you want, all of them are going to be effective. But, well, like I said, we need to get to that 6-piece set bonus faster, and the fastest way to do that is with the fastest firing weapons. And the MP7 is the fastest firing submachine gun. So we went with the submachine gun because we get more crit chance too, so that way we get more damage. Since we're not spec'd all the way into firearms, we're going to have to supplement that some way, which is why we're going with crit chance on an SMG. So that'll give us a little bit more damage output because we'll be hitting more crits, and thus we'll be doing more damage with our crit hit damage boost too. So this MP7 comes with hurried, deadly, and responsive. Deadly to get more crit damage, responsive to do more damage when we're close, which is what we'll always be. And then hurried because I feel like this is the best SMG talent you can get. Hurried on any weapon is ridiculous. You'll see in some of the gameplay, like in the span of like 2 seconds, I reload 3 times. It's ridiculous. It's awesome though. And this particular gun is spec'd for crit damage all the way around because we are so far into crit chance already with our submachine gun itself and with the skills we'll be using. So again, the reason we're going with these 2 weapons, they do the fastest damage, maybe not the most damage, but they do the fastest damage, which will get us to that 6-piece set bonus faster. And outside of that, like there's no other reason to use the Striker 6-piece unless you're trying to take advantage of the most you can of this 6-piece bonus for the self-healing. And trust me, it is super effective. Again, you'll see in the gameplay whenever I'm trading with someone using the showstopper, the damage just stays still. It's ridiculous. It's pretty awesome. And okay, let's go over, just so you can get an idea of what we're going with here. So we're going with 22.5% crit chance on our showstopper. And also we're using a pulse, which I'll go over in a second. And then with our MP7, we're going with, our MP7 We're going with 37.5%. So plenty of crit chance. We'll be hitting those crits almost all the time, which will increase our damage by 116%, which is awesome. And then if we're hitting heads, an additional 62%. Definitely super effective. Now again, we are using, for our skills, we're using the Recon Pack Pulse, which, you know, there's a lot of controversy over which ones to use or why even to use the Pulse, but guess what? It's super effective. People always discourage it or say it's not worth it, or all they have to do is scramble it and it won't be effective. Well, guess what? People don't do it as often as you think, and you get a lot of kills with it anyway. So this will give us an additional 23.3% crit chance, another 23.3% crit damage. Now that's going to be super beneficial for the Showstopper, and it will get us to the max for our MP7. So we'll be doing tons of damage in addition to our already 5,000 firearms, which is going to be great. And also we're going with First Aid Overdose. Now I did try to use Booster Shot. I really tried to make Booster Shot work because I felt like the increased damage would be beneficial. But it didn't give me that sustainability I wanted, which is what we got out of the Overdose. So with our electronics so high, we're getting 222,000 heal back every time we pop the Overdose. So long as you hit it like when you're like a quarter of the life left or even a third of life, you're gonna get an overheal every time, which gives you that longevity in the gunfights and lets you, you know, fight a little bit longer and have a little bit more lasting power. That's why I went with Overdose. Definitely effective. You can try Booster Shot if you want, but personally, Overdose is what works best for me. And then, of course, we're going with Recovery Link because I always use that. Talents-wise are pretty open. I went with the Death by Proxy just to kind of maybe get a little bit more out of my skills during gunfights. I also always use Combat Medic because I don't want to be a jerk and not be helping out my team. Went with Critical Save as well, using to make it during low health. Increases damage resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. Super effective. And also Triage. Heal an ally with the skill to reduce skill cooldowns. So since I am using that First Aid, I don't always just use it on myself. I do try and help out with my team. You could go with something like On the Move to help reduce that damage while you're fighting, or Steady Hands, but we already have a ton of stability on our weapons, so we don't really have to worry too much about that. Another thing about the weapons we chose, these are very, like the Showstopper is an unstable weapon, but with this 2-set and 5-set bonuses, or I'm sorry, the 3-set and 5-set bonuses for the Striker, you'll be getting a ton of that stability, so it makes it a lot easier to handle, much better to handle for any other build for sure. Same with the MP7. The MP7 is pretty stable already, but with this set piece, it's a laser beam. You'll see that, like, whenever I'm shooting and aiming down sights, it's ridiculously straight. Pretty awesome. Now, one thing I did want to point out too is I tried to go with the Caduceus to get the ultimate heals with Self-Preserve and the Caduceus talent. Each critical hit heals you and your group for 1% of your skill power. But the reason it didn't work was because of the rate of fire. The rate of fire is just too slow for it to be effective and for us to get the most out of these self-healing that we'll be getting back. So that's why we went with the Showstopper. Showstopper does it the quickest. You can do the math if you want, but it definitely is the most, gets you to that proc 6 piece as fast as you possibly can. And that's why I went with it. All right, let's quickly go over the character stats. 22% crit chance on the, actually let's switch this back to the MP7. Weapon damage is pretty good. Crit chance is good. Crit damage. Accuracy. Now there's that stability we talked about. Good range. Reload time is irrelevant because we're using hurried. And weapon damage bonus from our gloves. And we armor damage from the actual set piece bonuses, so that's good. Skills are good. Max health is 221, which is not too bad. Armor is over 32%, which is good. Health regen is okay. We got a little bit of burn, disorient, disrupt. Now these are, if you can, you want to get the stuff that's going to complement whatever you're doing, PvE or PvP. I would recommend getting something like shock, bleed, and burn as your attributes. We do have a little bit of burn or extra disrupt resistance on our backpack. Again, I'd recommend burn here because you're going to be coming across turrets more than anything. And the same here. So we got a little bit here like we wanted. But if you were going to run this in PvE, I would say go with damage to elites. Same with the knee pads. Just make sure you're running damage to elites. But that's going to do it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay. Just a couple of tips to go over with you guys. Tip number 1, take the time to aim. So try not to spray and pray. I'm going to give you a couple examples right here of what spraying and praying looks like and what you shouldn't be doing, because it's a hard habit to break. Right here, this guy gets past me, and then I just start unloading on him. Get nothing out of it, waste a full showstopper magazine, and don't even take him down. I realize that, so I start to try and aim. Still not very effective, but luckily I have a pretty good overdose on this, so I can actually stay in the fight. Eventually take him down, but you can see, like, you can't just spray and pray. You want to make sure you hit these shots. Here's another example of what not to do. Now straight up fire with this guy. I should be taking him down instantly, but I'm not taking the time to aim. Get him low, but then I pull out the showstopper and waste an entire magazine again, because I'm not taking that extra 2 seconds to aim. Any one of those rounds would have taken him out. Eventually I get him, because, you know, again, because of the sustainability with the build. And here's a good example of what you should do. Taking the time to aim, lining it up, make quick work of anyone. Getting all those crits. Another advantage of having this actual build. Another tip, which is still pretty obvious, is aiming for the body is okay. You want to make sure you land as many hits as possible, because that's what gets you the proc for the 6-piece set bonus. So you can see here, I shoot him with the showstopper, get my stack up pretty high, and then immediately goes away because I keep missing. So I switch to the MP7, aim straight for the body, get the stack up pretty high. 36 with just one magazine is not too bad. Another thing, in case you didn't know, shooting turrets or fortifications in Last Stand will not proc the striker, so keep that in mind. Take aim, reload with that speed reload, take him down, you can see the stack is up to 26, 25, so I'll get all those heals for the next 25 seconds. Here's another example of taking the time to aim. Getting in with that showstopper is key. Get nice and close, aim for the torso. Get that stack up to 38 at one point, but I missed that last round. You can see that's what makes it effective. That's why we're using the 6-piece bonus, because we want to make sure the entire reason of using the 6-piece bonus is to get that self heal. So that's why we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do here. I'm gonna let the rest of these play out, guys. Sorry we couldn't have more footage for you, but we were kind of on a time crunch. So take a look at these. Just a little fun. And at the end, I show you the end of our Last Stand matches, which I never really do in these videos. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure you guys might be curious how well I actually do in these rounds, but sometimes I do great, sometimes I don't do good. That's not based on the build, that's more based on me. Right here, I try and be a team player. I lay down the heals, get as many bullets on these guys as I can. But that's a whole separate thing from the build. But check these out, and I'll see you at the end of the video. that's going to do it for our 6-piece classified striker build, guys. Really good in PvE in any situation, and in PvP, if you have the right setup, like with the showstopper, it can be kind of devastating, which is really awesome. And this did take us forever to get, and I'm sorry we didn't get any more footage. We just wanted to get this out as fast as possible. But keep in mind, there are a ton of ways to run this build. If you have a showstopper, it's a lot easier. It's something like an MP7. But, you know, use what you want. It's really up to you. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from regaming.com. Also, shoot us a comment if you have any questions or you want to give us any feedback. It's always appreciated. Until then, go ahead. Game on.
Game on! Yeah, game on!